This week, Dan and I are chatting about Spider-Gwen. So get ready to learn about the Spider-Verse because I had to. Also, you're listening to a kind of garbage First in Cameo podcast.
It's a kind of...
Welcome everyone to First in Cameo. Today we're talking about Spider-Gwen, the dead character brought back to life to push comic sales. I'm Adam Bishop, and as always, I am joined by
Dan Collins.
Dan. Spider-Gwen, who is she? Why is she here?
To sell comics?
I guess it was the Spider-Verse storyline, which I read a little bit about, and I still just like, I guess, like, I like Spider-Man. I could care less about like its expanded universe because I'm a monster.
I think Spider-Verse is one of the greatest storylines. I haven't read the whole thing. I've only read like bits and pieces, but I think it's one of the best storylines from the past 10 years.
Okay, so I should actually
I really think it's great. Yeah.
Tell me about Spider-Verse because I don't know anything. Like I dabbled a bit and I read about the character and where she came from. But yeah, I still have no idea what the plot of Spider-Verse is.
Basically, like, and again, internet people don't scream at me because I'm just going to paraphrase and get a bunch of stuff wrong here. But basically, the Spider-Verse is that there's these bad guys that live sort of like, I think they live like either in like one universe or outside of the universe or something. And they travel to the different universes, killing the Spider-Man of those universes and feeding off of his energy to make themselves strong.
Wait. That is the plot of a movie starring Jet Li called The One.
No, because in the movie, the Jet Li movie, The One, he gets stronger. There's only so much strength distributed throughout all of the different universes, and as he kills people from parallel universes, he gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Well, it's the same
until
basis,
there's only one.
But yeah, it's still kind of the same. But yeah, Jet Li has to kill himself in all the universes. That's the big difference.
Yes. And that's a terrible movie, but also kind of good.
Oh yeah, you
terrible and kind of good.
You get Rastafarian Jet Li, which is amazing.
I haven't seen that one in many, many, many years.
Oh, it's just like a mugshot of it, and he's like super happy. It's great. I love that movie.
Yeah. I think I had it on DVD back, 10, 15 years ago. Don't know where it ended up.
Oh yeah.
Going anyways. So it's kind of like that. And so as a part of this storyline, because they introduced a lot of new Spider-Man characters. Some of them were characters that already existed, like Gwen Stacy exists in regular continuity, although she was dead. I believe we can touch on that some more later. I don't know if they brought her back or whatever before this, but then they had Spider-Man Noir that they had introduced back in like the mid 2000s or something, I think. So they had a few different Spider-Ham or Spider-Pig or whatever. Like they had a whole bunch of different Spider-Man characters that already existed that they brought in to this event. But then they also created a bunch of different Spider-Man characters just for this so that they could kill them off and stuff and have them eaten by these ghouly ghouls. But yeah, so like it was I've read a few and I thought it was pretty good. I would love to get like the big omnibus or something that's got the whole thing and read it all through one time. So maybe I'll do that someday.
So is Spider-Gwen like the biggest character that has come out of that storyline? I would assume so, since when we're doing her in 2, I've heard of no other characters other than, was Miles Morales, like, was he born as Spider-Verse?
I can't answer you that question.
Oh, people are now screaming at their like phones, being like, "You idiots! He was, or he wasn't."
You morons! He wasn't born out of this. He's from the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if he was involved in the event or not. I don't think I saw him in the few issues that I had read, but he definitely, like, he existed before this. Spider-Gwen is the only character that actually came out of this to be a big character. Although there's another one, SP/DR, that's I think a Spider-Man mech or something that's picking up a little bit of heat or whatever, getting popular. But definitely Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy is the biggest character to come out of this thing.
Yeah, the SP/DR. I remember they did a Marvel Legends figure wave, and that was the Build-A-Figure inside that every character came with a piece of the big robot.
So you know you've made it when they make a character of you in the Marvel Legends. Am I right?
When you're an action figure, you're there. People know.
Not when you're a Funko, though, because anybody can make their own Funko.
Yeah. Ugh. All right, so I guess we should dive into our first book. I'm going to assume that we both have the exact same first book, so I'll let you take it away.
I was going to make a joke and say, like, Amazing Spider-Man 27 from 1962, because I actually was going to pick the first real appearance of Gwen Stacy, but I got too lazy and just skipped it.
Okay, so, I wouldn't even know. I thought that was going to be like her death or something.
Well, no, I mean, I just made up a number. I don't know anything about any of them.
I don't think there are hardcore fans that do, but yeah, nobody cares about Gwen Stacy. She's a footnote in the story of Spider-Man.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Now she's a huge note. Thanks to Edge of the Spider-Verse #2.
Oh yes, that's my first pick as well.
Marvel Comics, November 2014. Jason Latour story, Robbie Rodriguez cover and art. First appearance of the new Spider-Woman, Gwen Stacy.
Yep.
Do you know anything about the plot of this one?
No.
I have. So I actually have this comic, as you know, because we joke about all the time that I should sell it while it's super hot still.
Mm-hmm.
And this comic I'm going to credit with the beginning of the cementing of my friendship with one Martin Baruta.
Ooh.
Because I bought it off of him for
Who's that?
Who is that?
Who is Martin Baruta?
If you've listened to, he's been on your show before, has he not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they should know if they listen, if your listeners are faithful listeners who actually listen to all of your shows and not just the ones that I'm on. But yes, Martin is our co-founding Hey Kids Comics member. I remember I bought this specific comic off him for 60 smackers back in probably like 2015, before it was super popular, and went to his office, picked it up. And it's funny because I had never like looked at the comic that well before. Like I knew it was popular and it was one that I wanted. And so I had talked to Marty and we reached an agreement for me to buy for $60. And then when I got it, it looked like there was marks, like ink all over the cover. And it wasn't until I got home and like looked at other copies to realize that's how it was supposed to look. I thought that I was getting like some terrible copy of this comic because I'm an idiot and didn't even know what it looked like. Because that's the kind of person I am. I can get super excited and pay $60 for something and not even know what it looks like.
$60.
Yeah. And then I bought the rest of the set. He had the whole 1 through 5, and I bought the rest of the set for $20. So I paid $80 total for it. And now that the SP/DR character is, getting popular, I've got 2 comics out of this 5 that are valuable-ish. So yes, this comic is very important to me personally because let's be honest here, there wouldn't be a Hey Kids Comics if Marty and I hadn't become friends. And if there wasn't a Hey Kids Comics, there wouldn't be a First in Cameo.
Dan's like, where am I? What year is this?
Who took my medicine? Yes. So if it wasn't for this comic book, we might not be here right now. So that's pretty cool.
You mentioned the CGC note for this. I do have the CBCS note, which is
go ahead.
Yeah, it's first appearance of Gwen Stacy as Spider-Woman. And for PGX, there is nothing.
That's because PGX is garbage.
Yeah, there's PGX. It'll probably get to a point where I have nothing for PGX because it's very rare that I don't know if you can look anything up on their website. I doubt it, but
the fact that you haven't even tried tells you how little you care about what PGX is saying.
Yeah, I like CBCS,
you haven't even tried.
No, PGX. I know that they're there. Once in a while, you'll find a book on eBay, and you're like, I guess I could send it to get regraded by CGC or CBCS,
a reputable company.
Yeah, not one that apparently replaces your first prints with second prints, just from what I've seen on allegedly on the YouTubes.
I started to say what the plot for this book was, but then got distracted. So this is a one-shot part of the Edge of the Spider-Verse event, as we already talked about. And this one's kind of cool. All of these issues are cool because they're set up like you're just picking up from where another story left off, even though that story doesn't exist. So like this one, for example, it has a sort of previously page where it shows Gwen Stacy being bitten by a radioactive spider, and Peter Parker doesn't get bitten, but he wants to get powers, so he accidentally turns himself into a monster trying to replicate her powers. And this is just a few panels before it goes into the actual story. So it's kind of I think it's pretty cool and neat how they are not making this out like this is a one shot that you're starting from the beginning, but this is an ongoing story, because in her world she is the Spider Woman, the Spider-Man character. There's nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool. And then the rest of the story kicks off, and it's basically about Gwen and her father, who's a police lieutenant, and how she's running away from the police because they think that she's a bad guy. And turns out that Matt Murdock is actually a bad guy working for the Kingpin, because, you know, it's an alternate reality, et cetera, et cetera. You can do all these fun, crazy things.
For the eBay listings, because that's what I'm grabbing. I'm doing a little bit different this time. A 9.8 CGC will go for roughly, I think it was 1,300 plus tax. And then a 9.8 CBCS is going to go roughly 1,200 plus tax. And of course, no PGX available. So yeah, so if you sent in your copy that you paid, what was it, 64? Maybe
$60.
Yeah, maybe you'll get a 9.8 and it'll be worth $1,300. No, it's not a 9.8.
Absolutely not a 9.8. But it's one of those things where you think, like, is it worth slabbing if it comes back as a 9.4 or a 9.2, or is it better to just have it be raw and be like, well, I have a copy, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to add to the 472 9.4 copies there are out there. To see what I did there? Do you see that segue?
Yeah. Tell everyone about the census.
So there's 5 9.9s out there.
Yeah, that's insane.
I want to know how much those are going for. There's 2,840 9.8s and 1,342 9.6s. So some very, very high numbers here, because this is one of this was the biggest comic with the first appearance of Miles Morales. The two of them were like the biggest comics about a year ago, right during the opening stages of lockdown, I think.
Yeah, and it really has to do with the Spider-Verse movie. I would assume that really drove the price of these characters up a lot.
I haven't seen that movie.
Me neither. I hear it's good.
I've heard it's good. I've actually picked it up in Walmart and stuff and been like, I should buy this. And it was also, I think it was on Crave, and I had a Crave subscription, and I was like, I should watch this. And then I did neither thing, and now I don't have either. So
I think it's interesting that there are 2 issues of this that were restored, which it could have meant that they could tell that it was pressed, or that somebody, I guess, whatever the restoring is for it, maybe CGCs restore it themselves. But for a 9.8 to have restored, it's so weird for such a new comic that's only 7 years old.
Yep, just under 7 years old. And it's also, this is another one of the comics where the second, third, fourth, fifth prints are valuable. Like a 9.8 of a second print is going for around $150.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's kind of insane.
Okay, so for our second comic, did you want to do the second one, or do you want me to?
You can do the second one.
Okay, I know that we should not have the same issue, because this comic, for the CGC census, I'm going to start down there. There is one comic total, and it is a 9.6 signature series.
Nice.
Which is crazy. It is actually, can you guess what it is? Did you do any research to try and figure it out? Because I know I sent you a picture of just the census.
No, I did no research.
Okay, good. So this is Excalibur issue number 44 from November 1991. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the hell does Excalibur issue 44 from 91 have to do with Spider-Gwen from 2014? There was one thing, and that's why I wanted to pick this, because I thought it would be a good, I guess, comic to throw in here. There are no CGC notes on this issue either, which makes it even better.
Okay, so what is it? I'm in suspense over here.
So this is the first appearance of Earth 65, which Spider-Gwen is from.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was my poll where when I was doing research, like I dug down, like what Earth is she from? What number? When was the first appearance of that Earth? And I found it, and there's only one CGC of this, and I doubt that people are gonna throw that in there because CGC doesn't care about the appearance of a different universe. But this book has a bunch of first appearances, and the main character from this Earth 65 is it's a first appearance of Brother Britman, who is a member of the Captain Britain Corps, the CBC, which is a league of superheroes all known as or are alternative versions of Captain Britain or like an alternate reality. So it's kind of like the Green Lantern Corps. Is that what they're called? I can't remember.
Yes, that's what they're called.
Yeah, so it's like the Green Lanterns, but it's this one character from the Marvel Universe and every alternate version of him, and that's the Captain Britain Corps.
Kind of almost sounds like what they ended up doing with the Edge of the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, which is weird because yeah, back in 91 they kind of had this thing, and Brother Britman is basically a hippie version of Captain Britain. You can buy this book on eBay. It's a dollar bin book. You can find it anywhere, but you are not going to find a CGC version other than what this one person has. Who knows, like in their collection? Because who slabbed Excalibur 44? Who sent that in?
Probably somebody who wants to finish a run or something. Somebody who wants to have the top CGC census for Excalibur, or a really diehard Spider-Gwen fan who is like, I need to have the first appearance of the universe she exists in.
The art comments for the book was it's an Alan Davis story and cover, and Alan Davis and Mark Farmer did the art. So maybe it's a Davis or Farmer fan. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that Brother Britt didn't show up in the first issue of Edge of the Spider-Verse #2.
Yeah, that's a little
Like,
disappointing.
come
It's
on.
weird. Yeah.
That was a free cameo opportunity right there.
Just to keep the continuity going.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty cool. Like I've seen, because the CGC does do first appearances of some planets or some alternate realities and universes, because I've seen them say like Justice League, 22 first appearance of Universe X, the Nazi universe. So they definitely have done some before, but it might not be common, and maybe they have to be like super important ones.
Yeah, if you actually had all the notes for all of like the characters who it's their first appearance in this book, then it would be like the entire back of the CGC label as well. There's so many characters because it is an alternate universe.
But they only have to put the important characters.
And at the time, it was no one.
It still is no one.
Is it? No, it's Spider-Gwen.
No, I thought we were talking. No, I thought you were talking about Earth 65.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Excalibur. It's only the first appearance
of that
Brother Britt.
Yeah, and a bunch of other shitty characters that nobody cares about. But yeah, that book, if you need to be a Spider-Gwen completist, like technically you need that book in your collection.
I think you're reaching. I think the Spider-Gwen completists that are listening to the show are yelling at you saying, I'm not going to the dollar bin for that stupid comic. And you're right, because I'm going to buy them all from the dollar bins and sell them to you for $30 now. That was a great deep dive, Adam. I'm glad that you went way deeper than I did into this. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, take it away. I guess issue 3, and I'll see if I have it on my list too.
Well, mine is Deadpool's Secret War #2.
That is mine as well.
Okay. And this is Marvel Comics, August 2015. Cullen Bunn story. Mateo something, I'm very sorry, art, but I think I just typed LOL in instead of the actual name. So my bad, Mateo. Chris Bacalo variant cover, which is this, because it's a Gwen Stacy variant cover to the Deadpool Secret War #2. That is the first appearance of Gwenpool. The CGC notes say Gwen Stacy variant cover, Gwenpool cover, predates Howard the Duck #1, January 2016.
For CBCS, it states Gwen Stacy variant, Lizard, X-Men, and Avengers appearance, and nothing for PGX. Now, I think the biggest thing about this issue is that my web notes indicates that there are over, I think it was over or exactly 20 covers with Gwen cosplaying as other superheroes.
Yes.
So if you look up a lot of those books, the CGC notes do not state, like there's one her dressed up as Magneto, where I think it says like Gwen Nito or something because they all have like
Yeah.
funny names.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of those notes state like first appearance of that character on that cover. I think it was only this one.
And you know why, though? Because she didn't get a series out of any of those other covers.
So, but that's the thing, though. That's a one-time character on the cover. So technically, all those characters are actual characters. If this Gwenpool cover makes it a character as well.
But yeah, they are definitely characters, but not worthy of CGC noting them as a one-off thing until something else happens to make it worthwhile.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, once you get that second appearance, then it counts.
Once Gwen Nito gets her own series, and I mean, why not? Then that cover will suddenly have, now the CGC notes on that cover will say, Gwen Stacy variant cover, first appearance of Gwen Nito.
Predates whatever book it's in.
Predates Spider-Gwen Nito.
So the eBay listings for this CGC 9.8 is going to run you about $350 plus tax plus shipping, and a CBCS I can only find a 9.6, and that was $280 plus tax. So there was a little bit of a dip, but you also drop 1 point down from a 9.8 to a 9.6. When I say 1 point, I mean like one, like from mint to like near mint. Yeah.
There's also not like, I guess, 688 9.8s, which is a lot, but compared to the Edge of the Spider-Verse, not too many. 139.6s and 38 9.4s. So, fair amount of slabs for this one, but also not a humongously ginormous amount.
And I think that's only attributed because it's a variant cover. So if this was the standard issue, there'd be way more.
Yeah, well, and this is only for the that's the census for this variant cover. The regular cover has like 10 copies slab.
Oh, it only has 10?
And maybe more, but it has a really small amount. Like I actually, when I was looking up the notes, I thought I was looking up the wrong comic because I forgot that this was a variant cover and that you have to scroll down to see the variant cover. So I actually closed the tab and went back to research because I was like, oh, that's not the right one. There's only 10 or there's only 20 or whatever.
Yep. And as a side note, no restored issues. So good for everybody for not getting burned.
And the plot for this comic I have, nobody cares. Because it's not about the plot at all. This one is just a variant cover with some cosplay.
This is literally a book where you judge it by its cover.
Literally. And this is also any of our Hey Kids comics listeners. This is a comic that is attributed to the infamous "and nobody wanted it" from Marty's intro, because I bought it off him for a couple bucks, or he maybe threw it into a pile of other stuff I was buying off him. I honestly don't even remember, but he was trying to sell it and nobody wanted it. So eventually I got it.
And now he's like, God damn it, Dan, give me that back.
Yeah, probably. I have, this is an interesting concept. What do you think of the concept that they did here? The whole cover thing, that they took Gwen Stacy, because Spider-Gwen had obviously gotten popular. This is only 9 months later. Spider-Gwen's first appearance was November 2014. This is August 2015. It's only 9 months later. And she had her own covers, her own variant covers for 20 whatever comics. Like, what do you think about that?
It's bizarre. Like, I wish I could get a good time machine to see what happened, why they pushed her so hard. Because, like, did that character take off originally when she came out for Spider-Verse? Was everyone like, yeah, I'm on the Spider-Gwen bandwagon. I'm here, like, give her own series. Did she have her own series at this point?
We both skipped over the fact that she may have had her own series at this point, but I don't know for sure. I don't know when her first issue was from. I do have 10 11 copies of that first issue of her first solo series, but I never looked it up.
Okay, I know that the first appearance where I'm trying to remember who did the artwork.
Like the variant cover that was big.
Sure.
Was it Adam Hughes? Edge of the Spider-Verse had an Adam Hughes cover that is ridiculously expensive.
I think it was just the first appearance of her. I didn't like the standard cover, the one that got reprinted. I just don't like. I don't like the mouth and the face, and it didn't jive with me. And I guess people were all like, "I still like it," but me, not really.
I'm confused. What does that have to do with anything?
I lost my train of thought. I don't remember.
The train has left the station. But yeah, so like I was saying, like this is only 9 months after her first appearance. It just seems so weird that they did this giant push to do like a company-wide crossover or variant cover event. But then again, it's Marvel, and this is the kind of bull they pull all the time. These huge variant pushes to try to get people to buy comics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have written down as a note that this is the perfect storm when you take a hot character and you cross them with another hot character.
Yeah.
And then Gwenpool is born.
Ugh.
It's probably because they were literally like, well, we've already got 17 Deadpool comics running monthly at the moment. What can we do with Deadpool, but that's different? And then they put this Gwenpool cover out and people were like, oh, this is cool. And some guy at Marvel, his eyes turn into money signs and he's like, let's get this going.
Well, I know when I was looking at the variant covers that I think the Gwenpool one was whoever illustrated it, which was
the Gwenpool, Chris Bacalo.
Yeah, so his cover, it was a different costume for her. Like it was a Gwen pink Deadpool themed costume.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I feel like the other costumes when I was looking at them was literally just like it cut to fit her, but there was no like spin on it. There was like the Magneto one was just Magneto's costume, where this isn't just Deadpool's costume on her. It's a pink and white version of the costume that matches what I guess her personality would probably be.
So you mean it's almost like they were planning that this was going to be a character
maybe
that they were going to move forward with all along, because Gwenpool makes her first actual appearance only 5 months later, which in the world of comic books is not enough time to suddenly go, hey, wait, this is popular. Let's make a comic.
Mm-hmm. My next one is also my next one as well, because it's confusing and I still don't understand it, but it is Howard the Duck #1 from May 2015. Am I right?
You're wrong.
See, and this is why I don't understand, because the CGC website is so confusing and they don't show pictures of what they're talking about, but then all the art comments matches it kind of match, like I don't know. So it'll be January 2016.
Yeah, January 2016.
So when you go on eBay and you're looking at these books, are they slabbed incorrectly with the wrong information?
They must be.
Like they have to be. I know I shared some pictures on a group that we're in where they have the same books with different dates in them and different notes in them. And like that is some, like, I guess not late, it might be laziness on CGC part, but it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't look into the weirdness that you were finding because I was just concentrating on my normal research. So I have no idea.
Should be fine.
Should be fine.
Who knows? These guys might just have like those books could be worth more money because they say that it came out May the previous year, which would have predated.
Yeah, even though the CGC for Deadpool's Secret War 2 says predates Howard the Duck #1, January 2016. So they can't have the notes,
Oh, CGC, that's bad form. You need to do more research.
Yeah, and so the rest of the CGC notes on this Chip Zdarsky and Chris Hastings story, Joe Rivera and Danilo S. Beyruth arts. And I also included that there's a Ron Lim variant cover because this Ron Lim variant cover would be the actual first cover appearance of Gwenpool as a character, like when she's in the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
So I included that as well. And so this is the first appearance of Gwenpool, real name Gwenpool.
CBCS has actual different notes. It does have first appearance of Gwenpool, then it has first appearance of Shocket Raccoon and
Yep.
Linda the Duck in Cameo, Black Cat, Titania, and Wizard appearance.
So I have this comic and I got it out this afternoon to read the story. So it's a Howard the Duck issue that has a like 6-7 page Gwenpool backup feature. And I got this comic out and then looked at it and decided not to read it because I just didn't want to. So, but yes, I can't remember if Shocket Raccoon was from the Howard the Duck portion or the Gwenpool portion.
I'm hoping that Shocket the Raccoon was like on a TV in the background of a panel. Those are my
He was
favorite.
the poster on Gwenpool's wall.
I assume that Shocket might be a girl raccoon. That's what I was assuming when it said Shocket. It sounds like a girl's name, and it could be like Rocket's, maybe like female nemesis. Who knows? Like,
it's probably just an alternate reality Rocket Raccoon, who also was a very big character at the time, just like Gwenpool's an alternate reality character on this thing. But yeah.
For PGX, shocker, nothing. And on eBay, a 9.8 CGC will run you about $102 plus tax and shipping, and a CBCS 9.8 will run you about $222 plus shipping and plus taxes.
Did you say 222?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's what they're listed for, so that's not sold.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But also, that's just the regular cover, right? Not the Ron Lim cover that's actually got Gwenpool on the cover.
That I'm not 100% sure about.
When you looked up these listings, did it have Gwenpool on the cover?
Well, that's yes.
It did?
Well, like the stripe on the bottom?
No. Like she's fully featured on the Ron Lim cover. Is literally just a Gwenpool cover.
No, that one I did. That was not the one that I found because I wasn't aware that there was. Because, like I said, CGC does not show you what covers look like on their website. I guess that would be copyright infringement because it'd be like back in the day when you go into Blockbuster where they wouldn't give you the manual, they would give you a photocopy of it, but then they got sued by the game companies for copyright infringement because you're not allowed to photocopy manuals. Yeah. So for Howard the Duck #1, I fucked up my research bad.
No. But I do think the Ron Lim cover is probably worth a little bit more. I'm not going to say it's going to be ridiculously expensive, but a little bit more.
What's the census on that one so I can compare with my incorrect census?
No, I didn't check because I'm an idiot. I only checked the actual census, which was 463 9.8s, 92 9.6s, and 42 9.4s.
Yeah, I have that as well. And then the Howard the Duck #1 from May 2015, which who knows what CGC did there. There was 87 9.8s and 20 9.6s, and then 5 9.4s. So
not bad for a comic that doesn't exist.
And that's the thing. Like, even looking up online, I don't know what's going on here because it still says Chip Zdarsky story and art and Joe Quinon's Joe Quinone. Yeah,
Joe Quinone. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So
Fabio Nicizia.
We're doing it. Yeah. So that was the last comic that I had. I don't know if you had any more.
Oh, I went one deeper, my friend.
Oh, they're like, tell me about it, Dan.
Spider-Gwen #24.
Okay.
Marvel Comics, November 2017. Jason Latour art, Robbie Rodriguez cover and art. Gwen Stacy becomes Gwenom.
Oh, that's right.
Because if we're starting this whole thing off on a derivative character and then segueing to a derivative of a derivative character, then we've got to continue on that derivative line to the derivative of a derivative of a derivative character. Are you following me still?
No, but tell me more.
So this is the first appearance of Gwenom, the census, and it's a key. I'm making quote marks. It's a key. 477 9.8s, 95 9.6s, 94. Jesus, I did it again. 18 9.4s, and you didn't do the research on this one because you didn't know it was coming, but this comic in a 9.8 is going for around 150, 160, I think, maybe a little bit more.
Really? For a 9.8? Sorry?
Yeah.
That's so not that much.
It's not too much, but considering like it's Gwen Stacy becoming Gwenom,
Yeah, well, how much is what Norman Osborn going to make like Red?
Is that still popular? I think
I
Chris
don't know.
Ellis owes me a copy of that book.
Like for,
So
for freebies, or did you already pay for it?
on a deal we made a year ago and haven't met up because of COVID.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to double check.
I have it in my little red book.
Dan has you have a little comic book with like a little pen and you pull it out. You're like, I need this, and I made a deal with this person.
Back in like last March when we were in, first lockdown and I wanted to trade some comics and stuff. And I sold a bunch of stuff to Ellis and a bunch of stuff to Marty and bought a bunch of stuff off the two of them. And I've got a book that's got everything in there and what I
Mm.
paid for each and what I owe. So we'll see. We'll see.
Hmm.
But anyways, not to go on to that Red Goblin garbage, save that for another day.
Yep.
The plot of this one is basically in order to save other people who have been infected with the symbiote, Gwen bonds with it, hoping to be able to control it. I read a plot summary on like marvel.fandom.wiki or whatever, and it literally almost practically told you each panel. It's like Gwen Stacy did this, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then Wolverine's in this one. So then he did this, and this is how the symbiote looked in that panel, and then this happened, 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 and then this happened. And I was like, bro, what's the plot? What? I don't need a play-by-play.
Just tell me, give me the synopsis.
All I care about is when does Gwen appear? So, and this is another one of those issues where the second prints are selling well. Second prints are selling for up to $50 currently.
Wow.
Yep. And I got two of those old first print bad boys because this was like one of the last comics that I picked up as a sleazy speculator.
Mm.
When, because I used to run out to the comic book store, and if there was something that might be a good spec book, I would pick it up. And every single spec book I ever picked up is still currently sitting in my long boxes because I like to pick them up, but I don't like to sell them.
It's true. My spec books purchases are generally, well, back in the day when Dixon's comics, or I guess Dixon's books, was still in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, where we're from. When I would see a brand new one shot on the shelf of Marvel with characters that I liked, those are the books that I always bought.
Yeah.
And they're not worth anything other than one book, we haven't told the story on here, that I picked up and I was like, I'm going to sell these comic books. And you're like, is that a what if Venom, or yeah, what if Venom possessed Deadpool? And I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
why? Because it was a one shot and that's why I grabbed it. And yeah.
And then I said, that's ridiculously expensive.
And then I shipped it to a guy in Hawaii after he bought it from me on eBay for I think 320, 330. It's not worth that anymore though. That has like definitely dropped.
That was a case of you selling at the right time, not
It
like our current stock portfolios.
It's true, yeah. I think if I held out a little bit longer, like it was still going up in price, but I did get rid of it before that crashed, because that didn't become a standard character and nobody cares about it anymore. And I wonder, like, there's probably tons of CGC books of that, but even that book was just 4 what if books with like backstory just put into one, so it's technically a reprinting.
Yeah. So, and I mean, the thing that's an interesting topic for another show, because I'm interested to see if the what if issue 7 or whatever it is that has the actual first appearance of Deadpool as Venom, like, is that noted on the notes? Is that something that's popular and that people are looking for, or is it just the appeal of that single issue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 4 single issues. I have 2 of them as well, and I don't think they're worth money, but they're not worth as much as them all collected for some reason. And I think it's because of the cover.
Well, I mean, every Marvel comic is worth money now because people will pay for mad cash for dollar bin comics. So rant. But yeah, definitely the cover appeal on that one. Like, it's got a great cover. And I wonder also if it got a rebump when all the Venomized covers came out.
That's
And all
true.
because like the Venom event, like Venom is bigger now than he has ever been, even back from like when he was introduced. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just typed in what if Venom possessed Deadpool onto my eBay, and now I'm gonna get emails. Are you still looking for this comic book? Yeah, the what if Dark Reign #1 Venom possessed Deadpool part 1. Like, I have that. It's $18. Buy it now.
Wow.
Yeah, but who knows Oh my god. And then it's interesting. There's lots of sketch covers where people draw the Venom head over different characters.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to look up the one that you actually have. If I look it up, it'll cause so much lag our Zoom meeting will crash.
Yeah, I'm seeing it for like 374. That's
So
for bids.
it's still valuable.
Yeah, there's a 9.6 slab CGC for 499 or best offer. So it's like it's I guess like it's okay. It's
So I mean, it has retained a chunk of
yeah.
its value, which is
Oh,
cool.
I didn't realize that Scotty Young did the cover. I thought he only drew
Mm.
babies.
I mean, it does. It's a very simplistic cover, though.
Yeah.
You know, so it looks like a baby could have drawn it.
So that was our last. Well, that comic wasn't our last comic, but it was. What was the issue again? Because I don't have it in my notes because I didn't think about it.
Spider-Gwen 24.
Spider-Gwen 24.
And now I had a rhetorical, not a rhetorical question. I had a theological question to ask you, but I forgot. No, I was thinking earlier. I was like, is Spider-Gwen because of or just a symptom of what's wrong with Marvel Comics?
Symptom.
Just a symptom?
Yeah.
Like, because the fact that on this list we have two versions of her character as other characters that are popular enough to sell for more than $100 for a raw copy of the comic, like that just seems so ridiculous, and like you're watering down the pool of good comics and good ideas by just slapping Spider-Gwen in Deadpool suit.
I think people just want like one-off stories, maybe one-off characters, even though they stick around, just to have something new to read, maybe. I know for myself, when I grab a series, I'll look at it and it says 1 of 4. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And then I'm like, I can start reading this because I can just read 4 books and I'm good. It's not going to be like whatever, like what was it? Superman Action Comics is like over 1,000 issues, maybe. Like, I don't think anybody has time for that now.
People have time if they want to make time,
This is
but
true.
is it a good story? And I guess if I think about it, I do think that taking a character like Spider-Gwen and then making her venomized is a good way to try to do like a refresh of the character or something. You know what I mean? Like it could be a good story. And same with Gwenpool, because Deadpool, as we were saying, there was probably 17 Deadpool titles out at the time. And so they're like, let's do a different one, but slight different take. We'll have Spider-Gwen be Deadpool, and she can be crazy and zany and break the fourth wall too. And it'll be fun and the kids will buy it up.
Oh, kids will love it.
So, like, I don't know. I just don't know. On the other hand, I love all these stupid derivative characters. Like, my favorite characters are the Spider-Woman, Gwen Stacy, like the Spider-Gwen, Batgirl, just all of these characters that are just female versions of other characters. I love them all. So I can't complain.
You love those characters, but will you love the character that we are doing on our next episode?
I don't know. I don't even know who we're doing. So lay it on me.
Next episode, we will be covering a X-Men villain. Dan, which villain do you think it is?
It's going to be Sugar Man.
It is Sugar Man. Well, at least you guessed it. Yes. One of my favorite villains, Sugar Man, which nobody cares about him. So Dan gets to learn about him, and you're going to be like, this is boring. And I'll be like, no, this is great.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see if there are any slabbed issues for him and what all the notes are, because it should be interesting.
I'm shaking my head as hard as I can.
All right. With that said, thank you for listening, and be sure to check out our website at akindofgarbage.com. You can email us at akindofgarbage@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Instagram, both at akindofgarbage, as well as Facebook, A Kind of Garbage Pod. And don't forget to check out the Patreon page at patreon.com/akindofgarbage. And I know in the future, Dan and I will also be doing comic book episodes on the Patreon podcast. What are we going to talk about? Who knows? Give us money and find out. And you can always find myself on Twitter at Presto Adam, and with Dan, Martin, Chris, and Chris on the Hey Kids Comics radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Trent Radio 92.7 C FFF FM. Dan,
Yes.
where can people find you?
If you want to check out my music discovery podcast, that's available to Spotify premium listeners. Just search up Gather Round the Listing Post, apostrophe round, not a round. Gather Round the Listing Post.
With that, I'm Adam Bishop.
I'm Dan Collins.
And get out there and collect all 20 Gwen cosplay comic covers. What a mouthful. As always, you can find us online through our social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram, both at A Kind of Garbage. You can also email us at akindofgarbage@gmail.com with any questions or comments you may have. Be sure to check us out at akindofgarbage.com, where you can find links to our Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages, as well as our Patreon page at patreon.com/akindofgarbage, where you can get access to our private Discord channel and Patreon exclusive podcasts. Thank you again for joining us, and be sure to tune in next time. Hey Dan, know what really crinkles my comics?
No, Adam, what really crinkles your comics?
Well, what really crinkles my comics is when you go to a comic book store and you're diving through a bin and you find like a 4 or 5 part series and issue 1 is missing or issue 5 is missing and you just can't pick up that whole set. Isn't that great?
Is this based on what you did this afternoon?
Yeah, I went comic shopping and there are a couple series I'm like, oh, I would like to read these. And like, I don't know, like there must be bin pickers who are like, I'm going to go through the dollar bins or the $2 bins and just take all the number 1s and leave like number 2, 3, 4. But because who cares? Nobody's going to read these. Yes, people are going to read them. I might read them one day, but I want to collect them. And you're taking the first issue from me.
Now, did you check the non-sale bins? Because maybe they pulled out issue number 1 and put it in the $5 bin instead of the $2 bin.
No, but like these are still $2 comics. There's nothing important in the number 1.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's a number 1. So the person selling it thinks it's worth $5 because it says special collector's edition.
I know the one store that does have $5 bins, they had a comic in there and I was like, oh, that's a $2 comic. I don't remember what comic it was. It's like, I have that at home. It's not worth $5. Trust me.
And then you got banned from the comic store.
No, oh no, you go into those stores and you don't say anything when you don't judge their prices. You can try and haggle with them. Usually they're good with it because every comic book store is a mom and pop store, let's be honest.
Yeah. So you probably hate me because while I wouldn't be the guy that's picking up issue number 1 just because I think it's going to be popular or something, like I definitely go bin diving and looking for issues that are that might be worth $5 at some point because they might have a first appearance in it. Like, for example, there is the 52. They did 52 issues throughout the year, 1 issue a week. And like week 8 or 7 had the first appearance of like a new superhero team from China. And so anytime I was going to the comic book store, I would pick up this issue if I saw it in the $2 bin. And so there's probably people out there trying to complete their run of that whole series of 52 issues, but they're missing that issue because I have 7. So, and same with like Green Lantern 25 is another one. Every time I went to the comic book store, I would pick this up if it was in the $2 bin because this was the first appearance of Atrocitus and Larfleeze, the red and orange lanterns respectively. And it was also, this is even worse, it was the finale of a event, the Sinestro Corps War. And so I would pick this up anytime I saw it because I think that it's going to be a comic that's worth some money in the future because of those 2 characters. And so there'd probably be some guy who's reading all of his Sinestro Corps War comics, and then he goes to look for issue number 25, and it's nowhere to be found because I've got 5 copies.
I'm pretty sure I've been at comic book stores and I'll message you and be like, you looking for anything? And you've said that comic.
I definitely did. Both of those comics, actually.
Oh my God. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah. you looked, but they hadn't restocked because I still had bought them out the last time.
Before we go, I did find a What If Venom Possessed Deadpool 9.4 graded, signed by Stanley. It's $1,800 or best offer.
I mean, he created both of those characters, right?
It's Slab by PGX.
Yes, you found a PGX. Amazing.
Oh, and it's
Put some
probably
trumpet sound effects in or something.
Boo, boo, boo.
Amazing.
But nobody cares about PGX.
But
So
nobody cares.
no, you might be able to open it up and get it re-verified. You send it and get it as a verified CGC signature, right?
No, CBSC or
CBS.
CBCS. Sorry.
Okay, there's
Yeah.
so many.
Not CGC. CGC can't verify. You have to actually see they have to witness it.
Yeah, because they were verifying non-real signatures at one point.
I have no idea.
Allegedly.
You got to say allegedly before everything.
Yeah, allegedly.
We're allegedly on a podcast.